to the session on search strategy. The success of creation of databases depends upon its efficiency in retrieving the information from the files. Equally important is the search procedures and the search strategy. So, in this session, let us see how the searches can be made against the databases. So, before moving on to the actual agenda, let us define search and the search strategy. Search is performed to obtain exact or related information about a topic, keyword, subject area from a repository of the information. So, we are making a search against the database stored. So, what should be the strategy? Search strategy is the systematic technique to be followed in finding the relevant information on a topic. So, most of the people you may be using the Google search engine. So, what we will be doing? Suppose if you want to search some string or a keyword against the information that is available online. So, we will be selecting some strategy techniques. So, which keyword is to be placed or which relevant keyword is to be placed in order to get the related information or else the exact information. So, in that way we try to create the search statistics. So, in this particular session let us see how the search should be made and what kind of strategies or what kind of techniques can be used in order to put the strings for searching the information. So, good search results based on well organized information and use of right search formulation. So, these are the basis for the good search results. A search in a database may be combination of an interactive, iterative and heuristic process. All the three processes involves. So, we will put a string, we will see whether we are getting the exact information. Suppose if you are unable to get the information, once again we put another keyword related to the earlier string and then we do the iterative process. So, meaning we will find out our nearest keywords, we will find out and once again we exercise the same kind of thing until and unless we satisfy with the results. Earlier when we were maintaining the bibliographic databases and other things in the library, so the library may be containing the bibliographic databases pertaining to that library as well as maybe having some sort of referential databases also. So, that time the user may be directly retrieving the results from the databases existing or else he will be using the services of the data service center people. So, he will be submitting the request for the results and those people on behalf of the user they will search and they will see whether they will be able to deliver the requirements of the user. So, let us see the stages of search strategy. There are several stages and this starts from recognition of an information need. So, what exactly is the information that I want? Then communicating that information to the DSC people, recording of service request, specification of service request, select the database resource, formulate query. So, these are various like stages one needs to go through in order to search the relevant information. So, let us see one by one what are the various tasks that one needs to do in each and every phase. First one is recognition of information needs. Like suppose if I am doing some research on a topic, then I have to find out some information, a kind of literature survey if I want to do. So, I want to have some information like what are the earlier papers and what are the contents of earlier papers and what they were talking about. So, some kind of things I want. So, defining that is the need of my information, that is the need for me to go through that particular keyword or the subject that I want to select. One can specify a bibliographic reference with or without abstract. So, suppose if I am having some sort of information with me, like earlier these are the authors that they had done research on this field in this area. So, I can have some sort of knowledge on hand, or else I may not be having. Otherwise, I may be having some few lines of abstract, and against that I want to search. So, these are some of the tools that I can use with the help of that I can supply to the DSA people along with the subject area that I want. So, next comes the communication of information need to the service center. Earlier people do not have their systems on the in the working place or at home. So, they take the services of either library or data service centers. So, when one wants some information, some exact information on a topic or subject area, so they have to approach a service center, and the user should inform through some media, either by telephone or either by written request or either by mailing something. They have to make a request to the data service center, and then they have to fill up a form that is called as search request form. It may be online, or earlier it was some sort of printed forms were supplied. So, he has to fill up that form, and whatever the information that he wants, he has to write on that, like the keywords or else the tools or else the help that he wants to give it to the DSC people in order to retrieve the databases. So, such request with some details are to be recorded in the search record form. Then specification of search request. So, end user may request some aids such as scheme of classification, then some sort of the areas, the keywords, the subject map. Otherwise, if at all some known documents are available in that area, he can give the information of that known documents in the form of hints to the DSA people. So, that during the string such strategies, these particular tools or aids may help them in retrieving the information. Then comes from the DSC like a data center people or from the library side, this is the next phase starts, that is select the database resource. Earlier they used to maintain several databases. Suppose if some medical terms are being there, so they used to maintain some medical databases. Suppose some computer science related subjects are there, they used to maintain some computer science related databases. Likewise, there are subject depending upon the subject area, depending upon the fields, they used to maintain appropriate databases. So, the people in the DSC data service center, they used to identify the keywords or identify the abstracts or identify the user needs, and they select the appropriate databases and they work against them. So, formulate query in search language. So, directly they can't put a single keyword in order to get the complete information about the topic that the user wants. So, they have to somehow strategically they have to formulate the query. Suppose if the databases are maintaining a kind of SQL embedded in it, so they have to maintain the appropriate structure or syntax. In that syntax or in that appropriate structure only they have to pass on the search query. Suppose if I am using some SQL, like in MySQL the databases are being stored, I have to use the MySQL syntax in order to retrieve the data, like the select clause is there. So, from using that select clause against the condition and other things, you can retrieve the data. Likewise, whatever the database that you had selected, whatever the SQL or whatever the structure or whatever the syntax that the language is using, you have to follow that syntax. Then perform the search operation. So, you had made your mind clear and you had formulated the string also, then you have to perform the search operation. So, as and when you put the string directly, all the relevant information may not be coming at the first go and may not be yielding the best and faster results. However, after some refinement, you may be getting the faster and best results. In order to get the best results or in order to get the relevant information, the user can also assist in evaluating of the initial and intermediate search results and provide the feedback to the searcher. So, depending upon the feedback given by the end user, once again the strings or the search strategy can be modified and then the searches can be made. So, modification of search depending upon the feedback, the modification of search once again is being refined, and next several expressions can be experimented and the better results can be known out. So, this particular information needs to be displayed. Suppose if the user wants them on paper in the form of a report, or else if the user wants them on the like hard copy or soft copy. So, the information, or else if the user wants them in a particular format. So, those particular things needs to be taken care by the data center people or the library people, and they will be providing in the desired fashion. Then recording and logging the query. So, once this particular query whenever is been put and the exact information or the successful results are being obtained, then recording is must. So, the search procedure whatever they had followed, they had adapted may be helping in future course also for the future use and analytical studies also. So, they should record the whole search strategy that they had followed for future use and analytical studies. So, this is the step by step procedure one needs to use in order to retrieve the exact information from the existing databases. So, let us see in 1990 two persons Genchart and Meno, they had designed one flow chart in one of the research papers which is presented over here. So, this is a kind of flow chart covering all the phases that we had seen earlier. So, query, end user placing some query or placing some sort of need, and then formulation of search expression is there, and this particular formulation of such expressions directly they are not done, using some aids like operation manuals and thesaurus, these particular things they use and they formulate the search expressions. Because directly the information, suppose if I want the information on cloud computing, the cloud computing may be keyword, but I am looking for the security aspects of cloud computing. So, once again in the security aspects I may be looking narrowly to one of the security aspect among the methods available. So, depending upon the keywords or depending upon the operation manuals or other things, I have to take some sort of inputs and I have to place them for further placing them on the search strategy. So, preparation, next step is preparation, verification of query, then derivation of terms, and then search operation will be happening, then retrieval of records. If intermediate results are being satisfied by the end user, then it is okay, file references and query statistics are being given. Otherwise, once again the iterative process once again follows, a better refinement technique will be followed, better keywords or other things will be aids, other aids will be placed, and against that once again the search strategies continues. So, this is a standard flow chart that is been given in one of the conferences in 1990. So, let us see the search types, how one can search. There are two broad search types, one is controlled vocabulary or indexed based search and the other thing is free text search. Controlled vocabulary or index based search. So, the name itself is saying that we have to use some keywords or we have to use some indices. Free text in the sense we are putting open strings or some sort of keywords or non-keywords or some continuous statements, those can be placed and against them we can search the things. In the controlled vocabulary or index based search, this is a searching technique against the database using controlled predefined vocabulary. In order to retrieve the information from the existing databases, one should have some control variables also, or else controlled vocabulary or else controlled keywords. So, only against those particular keywords one can search. So, control vocabulary is nothing but it can be defined as a set of predefined terms that are used to define certain concepts continuously. Suppose people may be talking in the terms of like regular usage English, however, in the technical speaking it may be following some other word. So, those particular predefined terms only one can use against one can put as a strategy things against to that database. This type of search requires data to be characterized into controlled vocabulary. Whatever the text that we want to have, it should be converted first of all to the predefined terms, and those predefined terms will be used against the databases for searching. Then displaying the index and selecting the appropriate terms, entering the search terms. So, there is a kind of effort to be done by the user himself in order to want this particular searching strategy. Then comes the free. Let us see an example for this controlled vocabulary. You can define a list of keywords for various concepts and give listing of those controlled words as and when needed by the searcher. So, instead of providing like a kind of text or a kind of idea to the searcher, what you have to do is, first of all you have to have some controlled words with you, a list of controlled words. So, first 3 words or 4 words you can specify to the DSA people or library people. Then suppose if the results are not been satisfied, you can pass on another control set of words in order to get the best results. Then comes the free text search. This type of search is for non-keyword oriented search. So, there is no need of having some control terms or else some sort of vocabulary on hand. However, almost all databases allow the free text search, but while we are seeing the results for this free text search, the information that we get may be relevant or may not be relevant. Sometimes completely the information may be irrelevant also. We want some sort of information and the text that we had fed in is something else and the results are completely we are getting are irrelevant. So, you have to here also you have to search basing upon some sort of terms, not a controlled vocabulary. However, nearest terms we have to use against the databases. But this process relatively will be a longer process when compared to control variables, because there we are using some sort of filters in the form of control variables, in the form of control vocabulary. So, the process will be very short, and if at all those terms exist in the databases, obviously those will be displayed or those will be given as a result. Here as we are using the free text for as a string, the process will be longer and the records that were fetched may be relevant or irrelevant. Then comes combination of both types. This is a good feature wherein which at some part of time we may use control vocabulary and at some part of the searching process we may use the free text also. This helps the user to get the relevant information. Sometimes what happens is whenever we follow a kind of controlled vocabulary searching technique, some of the records may be missing unnecessarily. So, sometimes this combination of both the types helps you in that regard that we can see all the records and then we can once again filter by using the controlled vocabulary. Then we can see here the electronic searching techniques. The electronic searching techniques uses certain operators also. Like suppose if you take the case of Google search engine. In the Google search engine, you might have given a string to search for some information, and sometimes we use the Boolean operators also like and, or and not. Sometimes we use comma, sometimes we use double quotes, sometimes we use wild characters, sometimes we use some sort of nesting also. So, these are some of the techniques that we use whenever we want to search electronically or online. So, these are some of the searching techniques, those are listed over here. Boolean operators, using Boolean operators, keyword versus control vocabulary, limiting the search by using date, publication type, full text availability, etc. When you see the Google search feature, it has normal search as well as the advanced search. So, in the advanced search you can find this kind of limiting features also by date and publication type and other things. Then natural language searching and then nesting. Nesting means using the braces and using the Boolean operators or combination of limiting feature and the Boolean operators and other things. Then comes proximity searching. Proximity searching is nothing but whenever you want to have, for example, whenever you want to have Windows, suppose if you keep the word Windows as a search string, it may gives the Windows operating system features as well as it may gives the normal windows of the houses and homes. So, along with the Windows, I want to have operating system also. So, that particular thing can be used using the proximity searching. Proximity means besides the thing that we want, essentially the next keyword also should be there, Windows operating system. So, in that way proximity search happens. Then truncation and then connecting the term used by him or her using the control vocabulary, that we had already discussed in the earlier thing, that here also in the electronic form also we can use those particular things. And the next feature is the wildcards using question marks, stars and other things. So, let us see search operators here, and, or, and not. And means compulsorily both the things should happen, or means either or, and not means it is a kind of negation. For example, here pollution and Bihar, I want an information pollution in either Bihar, Orissa and Tamil Nadu. This is the thing that I want to search. So, I have to use a Boolean operator over here. This can be transformed as pollution and either from Bihar, Orissa or Tamil Nadu. So, here I am using and ors. Then comes the truncation part. Suppose if I want to use forestation or foresting or forests, so I do not know after forest something should come. Then I can use a wild character in the form of a dollar. And then masking. Masking is nothing but I do not know the spelling, exact spelling, I may be, sometimes we may misspell also. For example, normalization is there, some people use SATION and some people use ZATION, likewise organization also, ORGI, SATION, ZATION. So, I do not know and I want both the results. So, for that reason I can use the masking technique in the form of a question mark. So, instead of putting S or Z over there, I can use a question mark. Obviously, it thinks as S and Z both the things and it gives the information, and this process is called as the masking. So, here in this particular session, we had seen the searching strategies, the definition of search and then search strategy, and then the procedure in order to search the data from the existing bibliographic and other databases, that too subject wise, and then whenever we are searching online, what are the search operators those are available, like Boolean operators, parenthesis, truncation, masking and other techniques. Hope you understood all the techniques against the databases as well as in the electronic searching model, and few more searching strategy techniques will follow in the next session. Thank you.